Strategy meets spirit. I am your host, Shaun, and today we're talking about something that fuels everything I do, coaching. But I'm going to also add coaching and training. Now, not just coaching others, but also coaching myself to learn, to lead, to grow, and to stay grounded in my purpose. I'm involved in so many things, so I have to constantly keep myself reminded to stay grounded. All right, so let's get into it today. So, coaching starts with conversation. And right now, as I'm recording this podcast, I am in Rhode Island with my beautiful friend, Erica, who has the Director's Chair podcast. And she is hosting her very first Early Childhood Empowerment Conference. And I am one of her speakers, and I am so proud of her. And my topic is coaching staff. And so I can't coach with someone personally that I cannot connect with because to me, their mind is already shut off. Their mind is already in other places, wanting and doing other things. And it prohibits the plan, it prohibits what we're trying to do. And so you can't coach with someone who you can't connect with, whether I'm working with a director or another entrepreneur or even another trainer. Even parents, my families, and you're trying to reclaim your spark, and you're trying to reclaim your purpose, and you're trying to reclaim what you're supposed to be doing. I start with a simple conversation. I start with two questions. How do you feel? And then I start with, how does that make you feel? And I do that because I genuinely want to know what they think. I genuinely want to know how they feel. And so coaching is more about giving advice. It's more about letting the person talk and express themselves. They came to you or me, the coach, with a problem, and they may not necessarily be looking for a solution, but they might be just looking for someone just to kind of give them some golden nuggets. So it's deeply listening, understanding people's pain and their points, and then helping them feel seen. So that's the one thing I do is I acknowledge their pain. I acknowledge their points. How does that make you feel? What do you think about this? Or how do you understand? How does this make you feel? Or how do you feel about this? Or, how has this interrupted? It's 100% about them in that moment. That conversation is 110% about them. How are you feeling? I can't do anything. I can't give any advice until I get that information. Then I can say, okay, so this is what I think we should do to move forward, right? Then, okay, so what do you think about moving forward like this? Or what do you see moving forward looking like for you? As a coach, it is not about what I think or what I feel, right? It's all about the client. It's all about the person who I'm speaking to. So with this persona and this loving persona that was bestowed upon me by one of my babies, my ultimate baby, the mama complex comes out, right? And that's just something that God has given me as a young girl. And so I'm sitting there with them, talking to them as a big sister, and it's not a business transaction at that point because they're really trying to find purpose in something. Heart without strategy is just good intentions. So as I'm sitting with this person, I'm talking with them and understanding what's going on. And it's not just early childhood, childcare, it's business, it's home, it's marriage, it's children. And sometimes a lot of people just need someone to listen. So I love having a good heart moment where I'm talking with someone and my heart feels all warm and fuzzy because I'm listening to them talk and I'm getting an understanding of what they're saying, what their pain points are. But let me tell you, if you're good at inspiring people but not giving them steps, they stay stuck. So as we're talking and I'm understanding them and I'm working with them, I am getting an understanding of what they need. I'm sitting with them, not judging them. And that's the thing. When someone comes to me, I don't judge them, right? My opinion of them, especially if they know me, they already know what I'm going to say, opinion wise. But they don't need that from me at that moment. They just need me to listen and be that sister, that friend. My title at that point doesn't even matter because this person needs me. And I don't want them to be stuck. I always want them to leave the conversation with me having felt like, oh my gosh, I understand what she's saying. And oh my gosh, she was so right. Or I thought about doing this, but I wasn't sure. Okay. I don't want to inspire them, right? I want to give them actionable steps that they can use for themselves, right? And most times they already know the answer. They just want some confirmation. Something to consider, right? In my coaching, we pray and we plan, we believe and we build, right? I pray that my words amplify what they need. We plan based on what their needs are. I guide their plan. I guide, what they're needing, and I let them write it out. I let them add the meat to it. I might supply the bones and the structure, but I let them put the meat to it. And then we believe, we agree together that this is going to be amazing. And I'm supportive and I'm cheerleading you on. And then we build. So now let's put those plans in place. They become actionable items, right? And that is so important because your purpose deserves structure. Who you are deserves to be heard, to be seen. That's going to make an impact on this world. And that's what this podcast is about. This is more than just early childhood. This is, early childhood, childcare, just everything in all in one: life, love, faith, and hope. My coaching style, the Mama Shaun way, as I call it, is an approach that is equal part real, faith-filled, and working towards moving forward. All those components make for a moment in time where I am in one with this person, and my phone is down. I'm listening. I'm attentive, and I'm trying to understand their pain. I've dealt with pain. If you listen to my last podcast episode, you heard some of my story, right? You heard some of what I went through, and you understand where I'm coming from. Now, I didn't divulge too much because we're gonna do that in a later episode with parts of my book that I wrote. But you matter, and you are so important, right? And I, as a sister, a friend, a mentor, I stand in that place with you. I stand with you, right? I hold space with you and for you. We talk vision, but we also talk next steps. So what is your big picture? What is it that you want to do moving forward? Whether it's relationship, business, children, big career, financial decisions. What do you want to do? What does that look like? How can I help? And that's my third question. Aside from what do you feel? How does that make you feel? My next question is, how can I help? Sometimes I'm your hype woman, and sometimes I'm your strategy coach. Sometimes I'm your accountability mirror, not partner. Mirror. But always, I show up for you. I don't only show up, I show up with my pom-poms. I show up with my, woohoo, good job, friend. Oh my gosh, you did so good. You're so amazing, right? Because I want you to feel celebrated, appreciated. And I want you to feel like, guess what? You are A, not the only one. B, you will never be the only one. And C, I'm right here to support you. I'm right here with you, right? But always, 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 I show up with love, truth, and tools, right? Life is the biggest classroom we could ever have, right? Life is on the job training that you don't prepare for, right? So here are some lessons that I've learned as a coach. Not everyone is ready for growth, and that's okay. You listening to this episode right now might not even be ready to move into this step of healing and progression. When my heart got broken, I took the time I needed. Right after it happened, everybody and their mom had an opinion. But I remember God telling me to shut them down. And I'm grateful that I obeyed. And some of you might not believe what I'm telling you, but some of you, this will sound very familiar. God told me to shut everybody's opinions down. I moved everybody out of my life. I stopped calling. I stopped responding. I stopped calling people back. And after a while, when you stop responding, people quiet down. People quiet down. People move out of the way. People stop checking on you. In doing that, in doing that, that allowed people to be out of the picture. No one's opinions on my healing was irrelevant. It did not matter. And it was just me and him. But my mother was always nearby. She never stayed away. She was always close. In order for me to grow, to learn, and to heal, I needed everyone's opinions gone, eradicated, out of the way. Because of how my village operates, I needed them to leave. And I needed them to leave because God had to do something that did not revolved or resolved or he did not need an audience. See, sometimes when we need coaching, we need help, we have to look at, okay, God doesn't need an audience to make this wonderful thing turn into something great. He doesn't need an audience to prove who he is and what he can do, right? So I was ready for growth. And so I did what I was told to do. And that was the best decision I could make. Some people come coaching looking for a magic fix, right? Take this pill and you will lose weight, right? Ozempic. It doesn't work on this side because coaching takes time. It takes consistency and dedication. And it's a movement. It is you manually deciding, I'm going to change my approach. I am going to change the way I do things. I've learned to celebrate small wins, honor processes, and keep coaching with compassion, even when they weren't moving fast enough as I'd hoped. But again, it's not about me. See, that's the thing about being a coach. It is not about me. It's about the person I'm talking to, the person I'm cheerleading for, the person that I am wanting to be amazing. Coaching myself through hard sessions was a challenge because I had to learn how to be my own hype woman when God told me to shut everybody down. See, but if right now you are stuck, I've got you. I'm right here with you. I'm holding space for you. Ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, what's one thing I can control today? What's the one thing that I have control over? Number 2, what belief do I need to let go of it? The thing that's holding you, what do I need to do to let go of it? What does that look like for me? What does that encompass? Right? Not a group effort, but you individually. Lastly, what's one decision my future self will thank me for? What's the one thing that you can do now that your future self will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for choosing us. I have mine. I am thankful that I did not get married. I am thankful because it would not end up the way that I would have wanted. And even though in that pain, in that moment, being with that person was the only thing I want, I can't see the future. I'm not smart like that, right? I can't see the future. But God can. You don't have to wait for a coach to lead you. Start leading yourself with love and strategy. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for being here with me on this episode of Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun. If this episode lit something inside of you, it shared something with you that you've been hoping someone else resonated with you on, I want you to share it with your people. Share it with your village. Share it with your tribe. Leave a review. DM me your biggest takeaway. I am right here with you. You can email us at mic'dupwithmamashaun@yahoo.com. And remember, you already have what it takes. If you're listening to this, that means you still have what it takes. Because if you weren't listening, you wouldn't be here. But you have what it takes. You just need some heart and strategy to walk it out, right? You just need a little bit of courage to walk it out. Stay rooted, stay bold, and stay mic'd up. I'll see you next time.